Admiral Zexithara stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Dominion's Wrath, his 6 arms crossed in what his species considered the ultimate gesture of dismissive superiority. The holographic display before him showed the pathetic human fleet, a mere 37 vessels compared to his armada of 412 ships. The humans had arranged themselves in what appeared to be a completely random formation, scattered across 3-dimensional space like debris from a destroyed cargo hauler. "Primitive mammals," he sneered, his mandibles clicking in amusement as his subordinates chittered their agreement. "Look at their formation. No discipline, no coordination. They cluster their vessels as if they're huddling for warmth." Commander Vithrak, his tactical officer, tilted his crested head. "Sir, our intelligence suggests humans are known for unconventional approaches. Perhaps we should—" "Unconventional?" Zexithara's laugh was a harsh, grating sound. "There's a difference between unconventional and incompetent. These creatures have barely achieved faster-than-light travel. They use crude chemical propulsion for maneuvering and still rely on kinetic projectiles. Meanwhile, we have perfected plasma coherence weapons and quantum displacement drives that their primitive minds cannot even comprehend." The human fleet had taken position near an asteroid field, another sign of their tactical ineptitude, Zexithara mused. Any competent commander knew that asteroid fields provided too many variables, too many hiding spots for cowardly ambush tactics. A proper battle was fought in open space, where superior firepower and formation discipline could dominate. "Sir, incoming transmission from the human flagship," his communications officer announced. "Put it through. Let's hear what pathetic plea they offer." The hologram shimmered, revealing a human female with short-cropped gray hair and steely blue eyes. She wore a simple uniform, unremarkable except for the 4 stars on her collar. Admiral Sarah Chen looked directly at him with an expression of calm certainty that irritated Zexithara more than he cared to admit. "Admiral Zexithara of the Hegemony Fleet," she said in perfect hegemony standard. "I am Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You are in violation of the Centauri Accords and Terran space. Withdraw immediately." Zexithara's mandibles spread wide in what his species considered a predatory grin. "Admiral Chen, I admire your courage, if not your intelligence. You face a fleet 12 times your size with technology centuries ahead of your primitive weapons. Surely even a human can comprehend basic mathematics." "Mathematics," Chen replied with a slight smile that didn't reach her eyes, "can be surprisingly deceptive. You have 12 minutes to begin your withdrawal, or we will be forced to take action." 12 minutes? Zexithara threw back his head and laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "You amuse me, human. Very well. In 12 minutes I will personally accept your surrender from whatever wreckage remains of your fleet." The transmission ended, and Zexithara turned to his tactical display. "Begin the advance, standard formation. Let's demonstrate proper fleet tactics to these barbarians before we destroy them." The Hegemony fleet moved forward in perfect synchronization, a massive wall of ships advancing in precise formation, their plasma weapons charging with deadly efficiency. It was beautiful, Zexithara thought, the epitome of military precision. "Sir," Vithrak's voice carried a note of confusion. "The human ships, they're breaking formation." Zexithara watched as the human vessels suddenly scattered in seemingly random directions. Some dove toward the asteroid field, others climbed high above the galactic plane, still others seemed to be fleeing outright. "Cowards," he spat. "They've lost their nerve. Pursue and destroy them before they can escape." But as his fleet began to split up to chase the fleeing humans, something nagged at the edge of his consciousness. The scattering hadn't been panicked or chaotic. It had been too precise, too coordinated. "Admiral!" The communications officer's voice cracked with urgency. "Massive energy signatures throughout the asteroid field." The tactical display exploded with new contacts. Hundreds of them. Small, fast-moving objects emerging from asteroid hiding places, from behind sensor shadows, from concealed positions throughout the field. "Mines?" Vithrak asked. But even as he spoke, the objects began accelerating, far too fast for mines. "Drones," Zexithara whispered, understanding flooding through him like ice water. Autonomous attack drones. The human retreat had been nothing of the sort. They had led his fleet directly into a trap, and now his ships were scattered across three-dimensional space, chasing targets that had lured them into a kill zone. The drones struck with surgical precision. Unlike the hegemony's massive plasma weapons, these were small, fast, and numerous beyond counting. They swarmed his ships like angry insects, each one carrying a warhead specifically designed to exploit the weak points in hegemony's shield technology, knowledge that human spies and defectors had apparently provided. "How many?" Zexithara demanded. "Preliminary count suggests over 15,000 individual units," Vithrak replied, his voice hollow with shock. 15,000. The humans had turned the entire asteroid field into a weapons platform. While the hegemony had been focused on building bigger ships with more powerful weapons, the humans had been thinking in terms of distributed warfare, thousands of small, expendable units that could be mass-produced and deployed in overwhelming numbers. The first hegemony ship exploded in a brilliant flash of plasma, then another, and another. "Return fire! All weapons!" Zexithara screamed, but his crews were finding it nearly impossible to target the small, fast-moving drones with weapons designed to engage capital ships. It was like trying to swat flies with a sledgehammer. Meanwhile, the human ships had regrouped and were now picking off his scattered vessels with precision strikes. Their primitive kinetic weapons proved devastatingly effective against ships whose shields had been overwhelmed by drone swarms. "Sir, we've lost 43 ships and counting," Vithrak reported. "Recommend immediate withdrawal." "No," Zexithara's pride wouldn't let him retreat. "We still outnumber them. Reform the battle line." But there was no battle line to reform. His fleet was scattered across thousands of cubic kilometers, individual ships fighting for their lives against swarms of drones, while human ships picked them off from long range. In the space of 8 minutes, Zexithara watched his magnificent fleet, the pride of the hegemony, reduced to scattered debris and emergency beacons. The humans had turned warfare into something he couldn't understand, couldn't counter, couldn't even properly comprehend. "Admiral," Chen's voice came through the comm again, calm and professional. "Your 12 minutes are up. Do you wish to surrender the remainder of your fleet, or shall we continue?" Zexithara looked at his tactical display. Of his 412 ships, fewer than 30 remained combat effective. The humans had lost exactly 0 vessels. "How?" he whispered. Chen's expression remained neutral. "You made the same mistake everyone makes when facing humans, Admiral. You assume that because our technology looks primitive, our thinking must be primitive too. You fought the war you wanted to fight instead of the war we brought to you." As the last of his ships transmitted their surrender, Zexithara finally understood what human unconventional tactics really meant. It wasn't incompetence or desperation. It was the terrifying ability to completely rewrite the rules of engagement while their enemies were still reading the old playbook. The war had lasted exactly 11 minutes and 47 seconds. Humanity had won before it even began.